Hello, dear viewers. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I would like to look at Trump's march, just to see what the cards have to say about it. All right. So we will ask Spirit Source to give us information that is helpful and accurate to light up my intuition, to light up your intuition, so that we are hearing what Spirit has to say to us. All right. In the heart of the matter, we have the Justice card. I wonder what that is. Let me do a clarification. The Four of Cups. I believe, I've seen this, that March is a month of reckoning for Trump because he is refusing to deal with reality. He's refusing to get the message, especially with this global health threat. He's refusing to take that cup. And that's the problem. He should take that cup. He should take the news. He should take the reality. And so the Justice card comes in when something's quite unfair and needs to be remedied. And a lot of times that Justice card comes in when Spirit wants to bring forth some truth. You see, the Lady Justice is holding a sword. So that's for truth, and that's for speech, and that's for impartiality and logic, use of logic. You know, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. It is the way it is. So this is a month of reckoning for him. He's going to get sidelined more and more. Okay, underneath it all, we've got the Nine of Wands. He's embattled, so he is going to get a lot of heat about how he's handled this, because he can't really pass it off. Even though he passed off the responsibility to Pence, he can't really pass off the blame because there is footage of him calling this a hoax, this whole epidemic a hoax. The night before, he had to come the next day and say, well, we've had our first death from this illness, from coronavirus. So COVID-19, actually. So, gosh. In the past, we have the Knight of Swords. He's just, doing a lot of rallies, charging forward. I'm going to win. You know, that's really been his attitude. Aggressive, verbally aggressive, yes. Above it all, 10 of Wands. Okay, so he is overburdened. He is stressed out. He is stressed out. He's trying to be everywhere. He's doing a lot of traveling. He's really trying to protect his re-election bid. And there's so many things that he has to keep his attention on, and he hates that. He does not like that. None of this is straightforward. He can't bluff his way through it. It's the economy tanking. I am sensing in his energy that's bothering. It is still bothering him more than the epidemic itself. He hasn't changed in that regard. And I don't know that he does. I don't know that he turns the corner into valuing the human life more than the finances. Yeah, so he's overburdened, and he's just not seeing things that clearly either. He can't see the forest for the trees. And we have seen him really struggling, haven't we, to understand the complexity of this issue. His understanding of how this epidemic is likely to spread, how, you know, what's the best thing to do for it, and at the same time, what's the best thing to do for the economy, it's been so limited. Haven't we really seen that when he's gotten in front of the press? It's like his mind can't quite bring all the moving pieces together in an analysis that's helpful. He just can't do it. So he is overburdened, and he is having trouble seeing clearly. In the immediate future, we have the Page of Swords. Why do I feel like that somebody listening to him? You know, the Page of Swords a lot of times is sort of, it looks like this person is eavesdropping, right? It's maybe a younger person. Maybe it is somebody who tends to be a little impulsive and speak impulsively. So the Page of Swords, I feel like that's someone in his environment. I feel like somebody is going to leak, and yeah, and that's not going to be good for him. And it's going to be, I believe, about the epidemic. Root of the matter. We have the Eight of Wands, right? Of course, things are moving so quickly on so many fronts. He cannot, look at this. Eight of Swords, we have Nine of Swords below. Remember, he's embattled. Look at all these wands. Holy moly, goals and purposes galore. And he just is not handling it well in March. And he's feeling quite embattled, quite battle weary. Immediate environment, the Wheel of Fortune, no matter how many times I read on this stuff lately, that Wheel of Fortune comes up again and again and again. It is time. It's time. I feel like fate has stepped in. I feel like, not that, Source would plan an epidemic. That was, of course, going to happen at some point anyway. You know what? So many years or decades, pandemics happen. And we have a high world population. It was going to happen. But fate is using this. Source is using this to bring about that change in how we're doing things, that increased truth by those who are leading, that increased, I just feel like maybe a whole new way of managing things. Because humanity needs a new way of managing things because of global warming, because of income inequality, because of so many things that are different now than they've been in the past. And it's the age of information. We have tools at our fingertips that could be really, really good for humanity, or really, really bad for humanity. Just AI, all of the data that they're bringing in about any topic under the sun, and it's accurate data. What motivates people? What makes people report they feel happy? What makes people have conflict? What makes people... There is an algorithm for about anything, and a way to gather huge amounts of data about any question. So it is a time when it's very crucial, very critical. And I think Spirit is trying to guide our leaders, guide us to use it all for good. I think so. Hopes and fears, 10 of coins. So he's hoping for financial stability to come in again about the stock market and things. Outcome, Sun, clarified by the Four of Swords. Corona. The Sun is that Corona, right? For stars, for suns. The Four... You know what? Okay, and the Lover's card. I had this thought, and I'm wondering if it was a spirit telling me, because it was really weird. I was just watching the news a few hours ago, and I saw Trump come up on the screen, and I thought, he's going to get sick. It could happen. It could happen that he becomes ill with this, or becomes ill with something else that makes him realize that he's mortal. I think Spirit's trying, and I don't get the sense he passes away with, even if he does become ill with this. By the way, you guys, I did ask that question too, and I don't get that sense. But it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, Spirit, is there any clarification about that? Six of coins. Also, the Sun can be lighting up secrets too. And we've got the Six of coins as quid pro quo. And I feel like there are other quid pro quos. Is that how you say it? Quids pro quo? Some beautiful grammar expert will let me know in the comments below. But yeah, because we got the Lover's card, like, who is he in bed with? So there's some new information about that. But that Four of Swords, what is that, Spirit? Five of Cups. I almost feel like he's sick with regret. Not that Donald Trump is the type to spend much time on guilt or taking ownership or saying I made a mistake. But in fact, he's more apt to blame that on others, right? But looking back and regret, but of course he's going to still blame it on somebody else, but regret that he didn't handle this crisis sooner. And I feel like it's because of the economic impact the crisis has. So this month for Trump doesn't look that great. No, I don't see him leaving. I don't see him leaving this month, but it's not a good month for him. What I do see is this. I see him becoming weaker and weaker politically. His power, just when we were so concerned after he was, let off the hook during the impeachment hearings, and we were so concerned about his power growing and growing, I think his power is actually decreasing now. I think it is actually decreasing now. And his mismanagement of this whole situation is part of that. This is a big mistake that he made. It's not a small mistake. And not only for the loss of human life, but the loss of money for those who really care a lot about the loss of money. Yeah. But you know what? This COVID-19 won't respect class. It will not care who it strikes. So very powerful people in this country, politicians in this country, are going to be impacted by this as well. So it does hit close to home. And the fact that Trump got rid of the elite epidemic management team, those who would have handled it competently, and that actually did do a lot of harm, because then HHS Azar was handling it. And we don't even know if he was put in charge of handling it soon enough, maybe not. In any case, it was mismanaged from the first group of exposed citizens that returned home and were on that base. And that's why we had communal transmission. And we could say that was inevitable, we'd have that. But boy, this happened from the first group that came. And the lack of test kits. It's just been so poorly managed. So we have transmission on a certain segment of the West Coast. It just was announced last night or this morning actually, Alex Azar was giving an interview. And it was Fox. It was Chris Wallace did it. And he said, yes, overnight they learned about a communal transmission in Chicago. And I knew that. I saw two major metro areas also having these kinds of communal transmissions. And then the image of the Super Bowl bouncing around in a room, like lighting up the map, like we saw in China. So he has really screwed it up. So they are going to sideline him more and more. Okay. I do feel like, when this thing dies down a little, when it gets more under control, he'll have that, he'll brag, he'll feel like he's back on top of the world again. But I don't think he ever regains the kind of power that he thought he had found. So, all right, Spirit. Anything else about March for Trump? The Emperor, the law again. Still on his mind, legal issues, investigations, decisions by courts that could affect him, that could expose things he doesn't want exposed. Still very concerned about that in March. Very concerned. That is in his thoughts a lot lately. There's so much dirt, Ace of Cups, because there really is so much dirt that, keeps spilling out. It keeps on spilling out overflowing. Yeah. So it's not a good month for him. No wonder he gets the Four of Swords. I think it does affect him. So we don't wish any harm on him, but we do want to see him sidelined as soon as possible. I do anyway. All right. Well, I thank you all so very, very much, and we'll talk again soon, I hope. Bye-bye.